Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. One of our favorite guests is back in the studio with us today, Renato Paiva. He is the executive director of the boomingly successful Access Youth Academy. He was employee one, and there's a reason why it's been so successful, and he's too humble to say it, but we will. You've been just so instrumental in this absolutely meteoric success, and it's an honor to have you back in.
Thanks, Drew. Always good to see you.
Always good to see you, too. Joined by my producer and occasional guest co-host on this, Brandon Joe. He's also the CEO of Treasure Hacks. Brandon is an incoming junior at UCSD. How you doing there, Brandon?
Doing good. It's always a good day when I'm able to sit in and chat with some of the amazing guests.
They are amazing over here. And as Renato knows, last week we had on his new current board chair, Joe Sammartino, and the previous board chair, Blair Sadler. And they said, we're going to save some of the fun stuff for Renato. Absolutely. But why don't you, just for our audience, just a quick little history of Access Youth Academy and its mission.
Yes, so we are an after-school program that serves low-income students using education and the very popular sport of squash. Not the vegetable, but the sport. We've been doing this for 18 years now. Had some successes. We have 100% graduation.
It's unbelievable.
In our years, and we have 13 national champions in our history. And a lot of, I think, great stories and great kids coming through it.
Right, exactly. And, pretty much you started with the Preuss School up at UCSD. Brandon's very familiar with that, of course, being a student at UCSD. And the momentum has just, gone on. Squash, obviously, is something that near and dear to your heart. Talk about your background on squash.
Well, I have an accent, as you can see.
Yes.
I'm from Brazil. And squash is not popular anywhere in Brazil, but I'm from São Paulo. So it's a big town, and a lot of people play squash in São Paulo. And I started playing when I was 9 years old. For some crazy reason, I turned pro at 14.
Wow. Well, because you were good, that's why.
I think I always say that because there's not enough people playing. But
I don't think so.
I played a pro, did my share. So I lived in Canada for a couple of years, lived in England when I was a teenager, and then I ended up marrying my wife, who she's American, and we coming to the US, I was invited to coach at Harvard. So I went from playing pro, then I coached at Harvard, and it was a great 2 years in Boston. Loved that city, but then there was a chance to come to San Diego, and I did not pass on that one.
Right, and we are the beneficiary of that as well in that aspect of it. But talk about, you guys also focus on, you play the sport of squash, and obviously it teaches, camaraderie and teamwork and all that business and an athletic skill, to say the least. And you started with no squash courts. And how many do you have now?
We have 8 squash courts now.
Yeah, that's amazing. And partners and all that business. But talk about how you also have the connection to STEM and also to, great academics.
Education, the reason we do it. So the sport is always the vehicle in which we excite kids to get together. But the reason we are there is to get them to the best college possible, paying the least amount of money, often zero. So it's a hook. Of course, I'm very passionate about racket sports and squash, but the real reason why our kids are there, and now this year we have 350 kids. Wow. We started in 2006 with 18 kids. So is to get them furthering their education. So that's why we exist. We are known as a squash program. Now, actually, we can talk about this later, but getting to pickleball soon as well.
We talked about it last week, so I know we were going to jump into that. Right?
But really is education and going to college.
That's great. Brandon?
Gotcha. And How exactly do you guys help out with this? Because as a college student, it's not that easy to just go to college for free. Yeah. So I'm curious on how you support these individuals with getting there. Because I mean, I would join this program. Oh,
Sure.
Play squash.
So we believe on the long run. So we get them at about 10 years old, fifth grades when we start getting kids in. And at 10 years old, what do you know you're going to do? You know nothing. I have 3 daughters. One is 10-year-old. What does she know? She just barely figure things out. But we select them early, and the carrot is the sport and the family endeavor of what we do. In the process, they come to us 3 times a week, and they study for an hour and a half, and they train squash for an hour and a half. You get that work ethics early, 10, 11, 12, all the way to 17. By the time they are there, they're really proficient in their game of squash, meaning we have some kids that play high level, and they know how to study and get the help they need. And basically, we meander this journey with them from an early age on. So often, the reason we have 100% graduation rates because our kids know how to study, know how to ask for help, have a lot of support system, and they have great academics. Our average GPA when they enter our program is 2.4, and when they leave our program is 3.95.
Holy!
And I don't take credit for that at all. I think it is the kids understand how to do it. Everyone struggle. I struggle in chemistry tremendously. I don't know anything about chemistry, but I know how to ask for help. And everyone has their kind of like their black holes in their studies. We get the right help. We support them. What we really teach is how to do it. Doesn't matter what it is, squash, math, life, friendship, whatever it is.
Wow. Because I know that confidence is huge for all these things. I know that when you have to go ask for help, it's not only being like humble enough to say like, I need help, but having the confidence to go there and admit that you don't know what you're doing quite sometimes. Because that's things you encounter all the time. And my nonprofit teaches communication and empathy, so I get really excited about this stuff. And I know that being able to communicate to other people in a way that makes it so that they are like open to helping you and are like super nervous, you're just like confident, like, yeah, I need help. And it's a huge difference.
You touch on something really important, is confidence, which nowadays is a very thin line between I'm doing okay, I'm doing horrible, especially after COVID. And I want to share something with you. When we do recruiting in our program, we don't look into athletic ability or grades. We're blind on both. So then you ask, you an academic and athletic program not look into this? We don't. We look into soft skills. We want to get kids that we can work with. And what are the traits we look into? Communication, kindness, grit. But often, guys, we get kids that have 2 left feet. They can play sports. They were the one that never made into any other sport before. They don't have confidence. And now they join a program that is the odd program out with squash players. We're not popular. No one's talking about squash. But that is the base and the foundation of our strength, of our confidence. Because every day, I was in Brazil a squash player, I was made fun of my whole time, but I knew that I was building something special for myself. I've played with 3 presidents, a Prince of Malaysia, I traveled the world. I've had my success playing this, and people laughed at me, but I knew exactly what I was doing. So these kids have the same history. And I'll tell you one last thing. We were playing the final of a championship in New York City. And I was coaching this girl called Marissa, a black girl that trained very hard. And we were playing the tournament, and she is a best of 5 game, going to win 3 games to win the match. She lost game 1 and won game 2. And we can only coach 90 seconds between games. So she came out and I go say, Marissa, what are you going to do? She goes, Coach, don't even say anything. I got this. And she said, I got this. I'm thinking, she's getting a little cocky. She goes, I know exactly what I'm going to do with my opponent. I'm going to enjoy this now. This was the peak of my career as a coach because I knew that I gave her the confidence to sort her own problems. I didn't give her the path to win the game. She figured it out, and she won the national title. So it was beautiful.
And that's a great story. We're chatting with Renato Paiva. He's the Executive Director of Access Youth Academy. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing great things for people living in San Diego County, joined by my co-host and producer of the Spotlight Show, Brandon Joe. You talked about pickleball, okay? Mm-hmm. And if you've not heard about pickleball, then you aren't living on this planet. So talk about how the introduction of pickleball is going with Access Youth Academy and why.
Yeah, so for every other racket sport, when pickleball came up, was a kind of like, oh my God, this is a joke that we can't stop talking about it. But it's a great sport that became a tsunami of players. We believe that pickleball, colleges will have pickleball as their varsity sports within 3 years. So there are already many schools with club sports.
That's right.
And we believe they will be an NCAA sport within 3 years. So we want to be ahead of the game. So we have this year 30 kids starting with our pickleball program.
Nice.
They're studying 2 hour and a half a day. They're training 1 hour and a half a day. And then by the time it becomes a path for scholarships, we are going to be 3 years ahead of others.
And, listen, it's a racket sport, obviously, like squash, an aspect of it. Talk about the similarities and the dissimilarities between the two.
It's a simpler game because less angles. Squash, you have the walls to play with. Squash, you hit the ball 175 miles an hour. Right. Pickleball is more of a control and patience game, but there's a lot of strategy. What I like about pickleball is that you can be good at 12 years old, meaning a 12-year-old kid that understands the game can challenge anybody, and that is an equalizer that appeals to us.
Right.
It's a simple sport to put together. We are striping 4 pickleball courts in our parking lot this summer, which allow us to get a lot of kids coming through. And also, if you think about the business of the nonprofit, I believe there's 75,000 pickleball players in San Diego. Now he opens up the gamut to get some more donors and some eyes in our program. But in terms of, Mandela said this, that the future of this world is through sports. We can change the world through sports. I happen to play a very non-popular sport, and pickleball is more popular. My dream, if one day I can snap my fingers and make a dream come true, would be to have this in 12, 13, 14 sports.
Well, I'm a little surprised that Hippocrates didn't talk about this in 18,000 BC or whatever, because we all know sports is absolutely, there's so much connectivity. There's collaboration, there's teamwork, you're going to fail. Okay, that's okay. Nothing wrong with failing. You just improve yourself. And we know that. And anybody who's played sports certainly understands that. When we come back from break, Renato, I want to talk about an access grant, and then I can't wait to talk about the Olympics and what you guys have planned for LA in 2028 when we return with Renato Paiva. He is the Executive Director of Access Youth Academy. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, just doing great things in San Diego County for more than 60 years. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. Thrilled to have back in the studio with us Renato Paiva. He is the Executive Director of Access Youth Academy, joined by my producer, Brandon Joe. He's also the CEO of Treasure Hacks. You have a big grant coming up? Access Youth Grant, is that correct?
Access Granted is the new podcast.
Oh, Granted, I'm so sorry. Thank you very much. And talk, what does that mean?
So we, with Cloudcast Media, we are together coming in to have a great podcast where we're going to talk to great folks here in town and in other places where what granted them the success they have.
Nice.
What was curious to me is what made you, Drew, so good at what you do? Who helped you in the beginning?
Right.
What was the leverage that helped? And that is what I'm trying to learn as much as I can, so I can help our kids do the same.
Yeah, and that is so true, because everybody has got a story, whoever that person is, famous or not famous, or it could have been the gardener down the street that, man, I learned more from that guy. And you knew the gardener down the street? How's that possible? Well, let me tell you the story on X, Y, and Z. I do have a story about the gardener down the street too, in that vein. When does it kick off?
We are starting to record hopefully in 2 to 3 weeks.
Beautiful. Okay. Are you going to be the host?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my goodness. I can't wait. I cannot wait to hear this. Maybe if you run out of people to have on the show, like you can look at the 500th person, I'd be happy to jump in.
That is a deal. And I'll tell you, that would be the most rewarding thing to have this all the way around. That would be fun.
I would love to do that after you get through the more important people and that aspect of it. Talk about the Olympics in LA in 2028 and what it means for Access Youth Academy and for squash.
That's very exciting. So we just finished watching the Paris Olympics, which was, as always, a treat every 4 years to see what happens. Our turn has come. We actually been in bids for the squash in the Olympics for the 2012 and 2016. There was 2 kids in our program that were selected to go to Switzerland to represent the youth of the sport. Twice.
Nice.
And we got shut down twice.
Why?
It just happens.
Okay, gotcha.
Same way you bid to be the host of the city and you don't win it. It just happens. I think first year we lost to golf and rugby, and it's the way it is, a competitive bid.
Breakdancing.
Well, they just left.
I know
they got in and they left.
And they're not coming into LA, from what I understand. Right.
Exactly. So now it's squash's turn, and it happens to be in LA. So this is the biggest luck of the draw for us, because we now are the closest big program on grassroots squash to this Olympics. So there's an announcement coming in this next week saying that we are going to be the nonprofit responsible for grassroots squash in LA and in the Olympics. So we have a great responsibility. We hope one day to have our kids play the Olympic Games. It will not be in 2028 because it takes a lot of time to build a squash champion. But I think in 32 in Brisbane, we have a chance.
So is it going to be a sort of a demonstration sport in 2000? How's it going to work in 2028?
So that concept of demonstration sport's over.
Ah, okay.
It used to be one of the ways to get in. You get like the host city put a demo sport.
Right.
That's over. You either in or out.
Yeah.
And for 3 rounds of the Olympics, you got to reapply.
Interesting.
So we are in for 2028.
Right.
And then after it's done, here's the funny thing for your listeners. The decision on staying on the 32 program happens 6 months before the Olympic Games. And then you wonder, how is that possible? What metrics will make you stay in the Olympics for the next one? And the metric is how much the sport, grassroots, grew in the host city. That's the reason my job's pivotal for the Olympics.
Absolutely. And so what number do you start with? You start with right now in 2024, this is how many squash players there are in LA, and now in 2028, there's a tenfold. How does that work?
Exactly it. And there's a good and a bad about this. The good is that the LA squash scene is very small.
So usually one way up.
Correct. Okay. But the number, when you go from nothing to something like, and the goal that we have is about 50,000 kids. So how do you go from 0 to 50,000 in 3.5 years? That's exactly what I'm working right now.
Right. Who are you working with in LA? You work with LA Unified? You work with the colleges all over the board?
We have a partnership with LA Unified School District.
Yeah.
We are already in a school called the RFK Cluster Schools. They have 6 schools in one campus.
Okay.
And the most crazy thing is this. Squash, you often play on a indoor court. We're actually teaching in LA on outdoor handball courts.
Right.
No one ever in history done that. I believe that is the pathway. Think about this. When I'm from Brazil, we play soccer in Brazil. Actually, we play football in Brazil.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, but that is our soccer. And the soccer there, we play with any type of ball, real ball made of cloth, doesn't matter what it is. And one day, eventually, we might play in a real stadium and a little field. In squash, you always play in proper courts. Let's play squash in any wall. This studio here can be a squash court, can be something with squash. So that's what we're trying to do and teach kids the beginning of it in any wall and then grow to something bigger. Right. I think that as we go on that journey of the Olympics 28, we can come back 3.5 years from now and say, did we get to 50,000 kids? And I'll put money on the yes.
Oh, if you're involved in it, I bet it's going to be a lot more than that. Do we know where the venue will be for squash in 2028?
That's a good question, Drew. I just had a chat with the person, the CEO of US Squash, the one that kind of makes a lot of some decisions.
Yeah.
2/3 of the venues of the Olympics 28 has been selected already.
Right.
But not squash yet.
Okay.
I think my guess, we don't know yet, but I think it will be on a multi sport venue.
Right.
You will not be in a standalone venue. We actually want to be in a multi sport so more people can see us. And you've seen squash on my facility, but on a competition squash court, it's like an aquarium. Is a 4-wall. You can Google it, your listeners. We've had tournaments in front of the pyramids in Egypt. We just had one in front of the Eiffel Tower. So you can put it whenever you want. I think they're going to put one of those courts in a great space, but it will not be standalone.
Describe the dimensions of a squash court as opposed to racquetball or handball.
A little bit shorter.
Okay.
A little bit fatter.
Okay.
So there's a lot of conversions of racquetball.
Still a ceiling, though, correct?
No ceiling.
No ceiling.
No ceiling. So what happens is there's a line on the top. You see the ball touches above the line, it's out.
It's out, gotcha.
And there is a little line on the bottom front wall, which is quote unquote our net.
Right.
And in racquetball, the rallies are really short because you can kind of low as much as you want. In squash, rallies are just way longer. In a professional match, rallies will take 50 shots to end a rally.
Interesting.
Forbes always said that there's a study that squash is the healthiest sport in the world because the cardio that goes on this is tremendous.
Right.
And the amount of thinking as you play is incredible.
Yeah, with the angles and all that business.
Yeah.
As well on that. Brandon, have you ever played squash?
Yeah, I have actually. I played with my friend over there. It's helping out. We went to our courts in UCSD. And
REMAC.
Yeah, REMAC. And then I also met a friend at a networking event, and he taught me more about the roots of it all and like all the different shots and all the different. I was like, holy hell! Like it's such a unique technique you have to use in order to, and you're really hitting that rubber ball like a bullet. It's fast when you really get down.
It's a great sport. I mean, it's I've played and taught so many people, and it doesn't matter if you are strong. My next door neighbor used to be a professional baseball player for the Padres, and all about power and fit and all this. We play squash. He looks like a 10-year-old kid.
Right.
He has no idea what's doing with it. So power won't do anything. The more you think, the less you run.
Yeah.
But once everyone knows the same type of technique, now power matters. Fitness really matters. It's a great sport.
No, I think that's terrific. Again, what can our listeners do to support what you're doing? Is there a way that we can help out and getting those 50,000 students up in LA? What can we do?
I think the most
in LA. I don't know.
The most important thing is check us out and see what we do. I think if you can go to accessyouthacademy.org and take a look in our website. But more importantly, if you haven't seen squash or you like pickleball and you want to see what we do in Southeast San Diego, come to our facility. I'm always there. Look for me or anyone in my team, and we'll be happy to get you on court, get you to know more about the sport, and see the amazing work that we do.
No, that's great. Renato, it's always good talking to you. Congratulations on the unbelievable success of Access Youth Academy, 100% graduation rate. It's all about the academics, as you said before. Doesn't hurt to get some athletics in there as well. Congratulations on the LA Olympics. I know with you at the helm, you're going to hit that 50,000 student mark. There's no question in my mind on that. Anything we can do as you're leading up to 2028, let us know what we can do to amplify certain things. I can't wait to hear the kickoff of your Access Granted podcast, and just give me my best to all the folks that you work with.
I appreciate you, Drew. Yeah. Always good to see you.
Always good to see you too, Renato Paiva, Executive Director of Access Youth Academy. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, just doing such great things in San Diego County. We hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.